Good morning. Welcome to morning meditations. Today we are talking about emotions. Emotions. Um, Whitney Houston said, "I get so emotional, baby." And I had this great quote here by, I'm not sure how to say her name. It looks like Sabah Tahir. And a torch against the night said, "Your emotions make you human. Even the unpleasant ones have a purpose. Don't lock them away. If you ignore them, they just get louder and angrier." And I am an absolute believer in that concept. When we are trying to be mindful, it is, excuse me, it is important that we are very aware of our emotions. And a lot of times we are not paying attention to our emotions. We are going about our day and we are acting and reacting, but not paying attention to the underlying emotions that are creating or causing those reactions. Sometimes we might think about it or realize it later, or sometimes a lot good portion of the time we are just never noticing the emotions that are causing our thoughts and behaviors. So, significant part of mindfulness, excuse me, a significant part of mindfulness is being in touch with our feelings and our emotions and recognizing them as we go throughout the day. And the more regularly you pay attention to your emotions, the more you notice how your emotions are causing you to react. This last week, even into the weekend, even into today, I've had this thing going on, and I've been very aware that my emotions are um, causing me to feel a certain way and causing me to react a certain way. And in this circumstance, I'm not unaware, but I'm very aware, and I'm consciously making a decision to behave in a certain way because of this emotion. I'm somebody. Some people may think, "Oh, he doesn't aware, or he's not aware, and so that's why he's doing it." No, I'm very aware. Um, but in the past, say 10 years ago, I was behaving in some of the same ways without any awareness of that was why I was behaving this way. And my behaviors now are different. I'm doing some of the same behaviors, but in a much more subdued way, um, because I want the same end result. I'm just going about it in a different way. But it's that awareness that is allowing me to temper my uh, reactions. It's allowing me to make conscious decisions rather than unconscious decisions. And so that's the advantage of being in tune with your emotions and with your feelings. Um, the interesting thing, the thing I've learned over the years about our emotions is how fleeting they are when we address them. When we don't address our emotions, when we're not paying attention to them, they stick around a long time, years. But when we become aware of them, we recognize them, we address them, we examine them, they actually tend to be much more fleeting. It doesn't mean they never come. It means they come, we recognize them, we analyze them, we deal with them, and then they go away because we're paying attention to them. And that's all different types of emotions, whether it's anger or sadness or, I'm thinking of the more negative type emotions. When you are having a positive type emotion, um, happiness, joy, fulfillment, it's not like when you recognize, oh, I'm happy, then it goes away. Oh, shoot, I recognized it, so it went away. Those don't tend to work that way. But the more negative type emotions, unappealing type of emotions, when we will address those and face those, they tend to go away quicker. So the idea is to be awareness. That's what it's about. Mindfulness in general is about presence, being present, being aware. And so when we are present, when we're aware, we're taking in a lot of data, taking in a lot of things. One of those things is our emotions. And it's interesting that one of the places, one of the ways, a lot of people ask me, how do you know what your emotions are? One, by practice, you start paying attention and you start recognizing what your emotions are. But the quickest way is how it feels in your body. And the more you start examining, the more you start paying attention, you start recognizing that certain emotions affect you in different places in your body. And everybody's a little different. Some people, a lot of things kind of feel like people will find similarities, like they feel them in the same place in their body, but everybody's not the same necessarily. I'll give a personal example. Several years ago, I was going through a situation, and I had a lot of anxiety about this situation, and I wasn't aware of it. I was aware I was going through the situation, but I wasn't aware that I was carrying in my body this tremendous stress and anxiety until it was gone. And almost to the day that the anxiety left, the reason for the anxiety left my life, I noticed I had this relief. And what I realized is that right here in my chest, I realized that there had been this pain, almost like a burning, just right here, that I'd been carrying that for several years. And it was just a tension, a burning, just an anxiety, just right here. And I didn't realize it because it had been constant, like daily. It was there all the time until the reason for that left. And when it was gone, to the day, and I noticed, wow, I didn't realize it, but yesterday I had this pain in my chest right here. And how I think about it, it's been there for years. Like I know it wasn't always there. I'm trying to think back how far it was. Easily 3 years, probably 5 years. But I mean, it was intense, and now it's gone. And it's like this, it just had just blown away. We carry these things like that in our body. Sometimes you'll feel it in your neck. Sometimes you'll feel it in your shoulders, maybe in your back or in your stomach. A lot of people will have, digestive issues, stomach issues, migraines, all kinds of different things. And so I would say to you, start paying attention to your body and what's going on in your body. And is there a reason for what is happening in your body beyond just I'm getting older and I have aches and pains and I pulled a muscle or something like that? There could be something else happening. There is a an acronym that we use in mindfulness a lot called RAIN, RAIN, RAIN. And it is about, it's used for your emotions and stands for, the R stands for recognition. So the first thing you want to do is recognize your emotions. Now, we generally use this a lot, like it's great for meditation or just thoughtfulness, mindfulness, just sitting and thinking and kind of examining. So the first is recognition. You want to recognize what is happening, what are the emotions that you are experiencing. You want to recognize them. So you might do like a body scan. We've done several of those. You might sit and relax in a chair or even in your bed or in your recliner or wherever. Just kind of slowly do a body scan and just recognize what's going on in the body. You might just think about your life, sit and think about what's happening in your life, what's going on, and just ask yourself, what am I angry? Am I upset? Am I happy? Am I joyful? Am I blissful? What's happening? And so you start trying to recognize what's happening. And this is when I really like to put names to things. Like I have this feeling, and then I want to name it. Like, can I name it? What is it? So that's the recognize. And then, or recognition is like, what am I feeling? And then the A is the acknowledge. And that's where I like to name it, acknowledge it. I want to acknowledge what it is. That's where I like to try to name it. And then acknowledge that it's happening. It's almost like an acceptance, not that you are inviting it, but you are acknowledging that, yes, this is happening. I'm naming it. It's maybe it's depression, maybe it's sadness, maybe, and it's not owning it. I don't want to take that, but it's anger, it's frustration, irritation. Just acknowledging it and identifying it. And then the I is where it kind of starts to get interesting, and that's investigation. So investigation is where you kind of start to process the why. Why am I experiencing this? And why do I have the pain in the chest? Why it feels like anxiety? Why am I having this anxiety? There's in business, I come from the corporate world. In business, we call that root cause analysis. So we're trying to get to the root cause of the problem. What's the source of the problem? And it's a real danger that we just accept the first answer. So, why am I so sad? Well, my dog died, and I'm sad because my dog died. But there's this tool that we use in business a lot in root cause analysis called the 5 whys, WHY, the 5 whys. We ask why 5 times. Now, five's not magic number. It's not always five, but it's a pretty good number. Five's a pretty good thing to ask. So you would ask why 5 times. So why am I sad? Well, because my dog died. Why are you sad that your dog died? Well, I had my dog for 15 years and I love my dog and it was a great pet. And, okay, but why is that making you so sad? So then you keep asking the question. Now we're on our third why. It's like, well, I'm experiencing loss. So now we're starting to get a little deeper. I'm experiencing loss, and the loss makes me sad. Why does loss make you sad? We could give a kind of a rookie answer. Well, because loss makes people sad. But we might start getting to, well, I loved the dog and losing the dog makes me sad, but loss makes me sad because I start thinking about other loved ones that I've lost. And, I've lost a parent or a grandparent that I loved, or I start thinking about my own mortality. So now we're on that fourth of 5 whys, and now we're starting to really get to why we're sad. I'm not saying we're not sad about the dog, but loss brings up other things. And so maybe the fourth why really gets to it. But maybe if we ask him, why does your own mortality make you sad? Why does thinking about other people dying make you sad? It's like, well, because I'm not sure what happens when we die. Now we're getting to the root cause of why death bothers us. And so that's just one example of how the 5 whys works. You say, well, great, David, I was just sad that my dog died and now I have an existential crisis on my hands. But that's the point, is we're able to get to where we can investigate what's deeper than just being sad about our dog dying. And we're able to start asking some questions, some serious questions. And you may say, David, I didn't want to ask deeper questions. I'm trying to get past it. And that's the whole point of what we're talking about here today, is dealing with our emotions actually helps us move through them quicker than not dealing with our emotions. Let's say that that's the scenario. We're sad because our dog died, and it lingers, like, maybe it's months and months and months, and we can't get over this sadness. Well, it could be, again, I'm not a therapist, and maybe if you're going through something, especially if it's depression and you think it might be clinical, then you need to talk to a therapist. But maybe if there's an emotion that you're dealing with that you can't get through, I always advise you might need to talk to someone professional. But maybe what you're just getting through in a situation like that is you're not dealing with the deeper issue and the bigger questions of life you haven't taken time to think about. And by going through this process of recognition, awareness, investigation, you're getting down to things that maybe you haven't really processed, some things in life that maybe you need to think about and investigate. And then the N in RAIN is non-identification. And this is really important. If you go through and you say, well, I'm sad, what you don't want to do is you don't want to identify with the emotion. You don't want to say, I'm sad. I'm a sad person. I'm depressed. I'm a depressed person. You don't want to label yourself with the emotion. You don't want to say, I'm a depressed person. I'm a sad person. You can say, I'm a person who feels sad. That's fine. But you don't want to identify yourself as someone who is that emotion. So that's what non-identification means. Our language is very important, and we can do a lot of things to ourselves if we use the wrong language. We can convince ourselves of a lot of things. So that is a little bit on emotions. Let's do a little bit of rain now. Let's kind of rain on our emotions for a moment. So let's just close your eyes. However you're sitting, get in a comfortable position. Have your hands on your lap, feet planted firmly, restfully, back straight. Take a deep breath, inhale, and exhale. Move this microphone a little closer. And inhale. And exhale. Now just breathe normally. Just kind of do a quick body scan. Notice the top of your head, down by your head, your neck. Just be aware of any feeling, any tension, anything that feels not great or anything that feels wonderful. Just how are you feeling? This is that recognition. Just how are things in your body? Are you tense? Are you anxious? Do you have pain? You continue to scan down your shoulders. You don't necessarily have to change anything. Just notice how your body feels. Down your back, down your chest, down your abdomen to your stomach, down your hips, down your thighs, back of your legs, to your knees. Notice your arms, your hands, your fingers. Down your calves, your ankles, your feet, your toes. Just how are you feeling in your body right now? Notice your thoughts, your mouth. Is it tense? Is it relaxed? Your eyes. If you had to use one or two words to describe your emotions right now, how would you describe your emotions? That's the awareness part. How would you label your emotions? Put a name to how you feel right now. Doesn't have to be anything dramatic. Just practicing. How would you name how you feel right now? Now investigate that emotion or those emotions. Why do you feel that way? Just practice going through some whys and why you feel that way. And after you get an answer each time, just continue to ask yourself why and reflect deeply on the answer to that question. And then ask why again. Now that you've asked why a few times, you've probably gotten to at least a little bit deeper answer of why you feel the way you do. Now be aware that you don't have to identify non-identification. You don't have to identify as that emotion, even if it's positive. You don't have to say, I'm a happy person. That's definitely better than saying, I'm an angry person. I'm a mad person. I'm disgruntled. Being gruntled is better than being disgruntled. But you don't have to identify as the emotion. Our emotions come and our emotions go. And that's good news for us. None of us are the same all the time. Our emotions come and go. It's important to know because you are not always going to be in a great mood. So when you're not in a great mood, remember this will pass. This this feeling is going to change. It's also good to know even when we're really up that we don't stay up. So that's important so that we don't get too arrogant. Things will not always be wonderful. But when we're too low, it's important to know so we don't get too low. Things will get better. The sun will come out tomorrow. So that's a little bit about emotions. Confront your emotions. Be in tune with your emotions because it helps you regulate your emotions and your behaviors. I appreciate you joining me this morning. I hope you have a wonderful week and go out there and be mindful and aware of your emotions and have a great week. Thank you all. I'll see you next week.